Muses are above all else angels, and God had tasked them with revealing beauty. One muse watched it far below. Thousands of screens flash content where once had flashed candles over open pages. "Get this insult out of my face," said the muse, turning her gaze from the earth. Another muse appeared like the rush of inspiration. "What has you so downcast, dear author? It's not like AI will stop the humans from making such pretty little writings. You have plenty of good writers." "Good writers today, good cadavers tomorrow," she laughed, sardonic. "Dear illustrator, my laments are foreign to you. The age of technology has only spurred a new medium for your followers. Yet mine have found endless distraction. They are ensnared by those hellish devices, slumped over in permanent prayer to the idol called phone. Most are not even patient enough to read Charles Dickens. How long until they cannot manage Narnia? How can I expect them to write?" "Don't be ridiculous. You have found new mediums as well. Besides, there will always be those who read." She tapped Arthur's nose. Arthur pushed her sister's hand away. "But they no longer find me when they read. What good does it do if my greatest works become a checklist for achieving status? My books have become wooden planks for building a throne of ego. People have come to think that the dragon is a mere fire-breathing lizard, that the wizard is just the magic of his staff, that the unicorn is a pretty horse with a horn. You know, Arthur, I think you're forgetting yourself. I will place a bet with you that you can still find a follower from the masses, one that spends their days hunched over a phone contraption at that." "And how do you suppose I do that?" she challenged. "Here, you can have one of my disciples. She isn't very good, and she is quite young, but I see potential in her. Look at her. She has at least some patience for me." Arthur leaned forward with mild interest. "Ah, yes. It seems I know this child." She held her chin in contemplation. "You said this one is one of your disciples?" "Of course. Here's her work." With a flourish of her hand, sketched images appeared in midair. "Do you recognize her from the English classes?" Arthur examined the sketches with a raised brow. "Well, technically yes, but I was referring to a different occasion. For a brief time, she glimpsed me. She re-listened to the last hour of the Narnia book for at least a dozen times." "There we are! I'm winning the bet already." And that was the conversation that changed my life forever. The desire to create beauty is a far heavier burden than you would expect. Well, not burden exactly. A burden won't drag you kicking and screaming. Perhaps mission is the better word? I no longer remember the exact day I was called on directly, since the muses have been calling on me for years by then, but the moment is scarred into my mind like the theme of a novel. There was a day of clouded skies. The cozy glow of my lamp beckoned me to read the classics, to sit down and learn something. I was on the verge of starting after one last thing, then another thing, and another. Somehow my phone slipped from my desk across the room into my outstretched hand. Funny how the world works sometimes. I bumped the button and it opened a YouTube. Time compressed and an hour passed me by. Then one of the muses spoke, and I still remember the numb wrath of it. "Once my followers were hindered by war, snuffed out by famines, all toils of the earth, the loss of limbs, the destruction of the mind, the physical chains of prison. My people were ensnared by iconoclasm. Whether the price was blood and toil and sweat, I was found in the midst of caring for dying loved ones. I was found in the trenches, even in the sting of death. But what is this misfortune which you couldn't possibly overcome? The mere comfort of blankets and the flashing of lights on a screen? Know this, I hereby curse you to forever pursue me in all seasons of life, whether in toil or delight. But for now, look at yourself. See what you are." At first, I felt guilt. Then the world grew numb. I wasn't even standing on the shoulders of giants. I was standing somewhere far, far below, trapped in stagnant calm. I had no idea what she meant by pursuing art. Not till some months later, when I had just finished an essay for one of my classes. I was perfectly horizontal, phone in hand, scrolling, when a movie edit appeared in my feed. Music and action rushed in front of my eyes, and all I remembered was the novel I had finished the day before. In that moment, I felt as though my room lit up. The world was burning with golden light. Within the four walls of my bedroom lived a being who held the entire world, a history, a great war and rebellion, and the spats of old married couples and blossoming of youthful love. For the next 2 hours, I typed an outline for an entire novel. The first act was mapped down to the individual scene. It was wonderful and it was horrible. I threw myself into writing. 7,000 words in the first week. The progress was real. Then the next day I fell back onto scrolling. Only now I paused. Strings that I hadn't noticed before tugged at my heart, and I looked up at the plain drywall of my room and felt strangely empty. The world that had existed in my mind wasn't in this room. No one else could see it, and none of it was real. Of course, I knew all this, but this sensation was different. Darth Vader, Indiana Jones, James Bond, Batman, none of them were real either, in exactly the same way my characters are not real. Yet I love them, and I love loving them. But the difference is that those characters belong to things people can actually hold and watch and return to. No one saw my elf save a child from wolves. No one saw her kneel beside the injured and heal them. No one watched the abandoned child who grew up helpless and was rescued anyway. No one saw my knight reunite with his true love after the battle. The only one who could ever show those stories was me, the person who first saw them. That is why I will always pursue art. It is truly beautiful. And that is why you should pursue art too. All the works that we have now are because someone made them. We will never have another Lord of the Rings, another Marvel or Star Wars, if we don't try to make them. I know it won't be beautiful immediately. I mean, look at my work. It's far from being amazing, and I have very low expectations of it. But it is a start. I mean, the illustrations alone. This entire video, the script, the voiceover, the editing, the drawings, this is all my first time doing it. And the illustrations are 90% freehand. Even 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to draw faces like that and make sense of them. All that to say is I have hope for us, and I'm saying most of this for myself and mostly about myself. If we keep trying, if we keep putting things out into the world, then eventually we'll be able to make something beautiful. And that is, I guess, the entire point of this. Re-listening to all of this feels really awkward and really cringe. I hope you liked it, though.